We warmly welcome with a round of applause our special guest of honor, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the Republic, all Ghana. Please be seated. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Excellencies, Honourable Ministers, revered captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor and my collective honor as a Ghanaian to formally and warmly welcome you to Africa Oil Week AOW Energy 2025 here in the vibrant city of Accra in the beautiful country of Ghana. My name is Anita Erskine. Ladies and gentlemen, you would agree with me that energy is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And over the next 3 days, our collective ambition is to ensure that our extensive conversations and our bold ideas lead to the realizations of actions that can yield Africa's prosperity. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say a big thank you to the leadership and the organizations that I'm about to mention who have individually and collectively proven that indeed it is possible for all of us to live for Africa, be African, and indeed inspire the next generations of Africans to come. We would like to say a big thank you and warm welcome to the leadership and organization of Ghana Revenue Authority. Please, a round of applause for them. The Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, is also here. A round of applause for them. The Petroleum Commission of Ghana, also present here. Please also warmly welcome the African Energy Commission, otherwise known as AFREC. Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation, otherwise known as BOST, is also here. Thank you also to Ghana Gas. And last, definitely not the least, we want to say a big thank you and warm welcome to the African Union. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to invite to the stage a dedicated champion of Ghana's energy sector, a liver, a dreamer, an inspirer. Ladies and gentlemen, please warmly welcome the Minister for Energy and Green Transition of the Republic of Ghana. He is in the person of the Honourable John Abdullahi Jinapor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, colleague ministers here, senior government officials, stakeholders of the oil and gas industry, and development partners gathered here. Of course, our friends from the media, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege to welcome you all to the 31st edition of the Africa Oil Week. I must confess that I'm very delighted to be the host minister for this important gathering made up of captains of industry, leaders, policymakers, investors, and innovators, not just from Africa, but from across the globe, to our beautiful city, Accra, the capital city of Ghana. It is even more privileged to note, Your Excellency, that after 30 years of hosting the Africa Oil Week in Cape Town, South Africa, for the first time, Accra has had the opportunity to host this prestigious event, and we are very, very proud of this achievement. And yesterday, I did say that it's like the taste of honey. Having tasted the Africa Oil Week for the first time, we are lacing our boots again to host it, if given another opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may be aware, it is an undeniable fact that Africa stands at a pivotal moment in its energy journey. Our continent is endowed with vast natural resources and a wealth of potential that can drive sustainable development, economic growth, prosperity, and more importantly, energy security and energy sufficiency for the continent. For the African continent, which is endowed with more than 125 billion barrels of oil and 620 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, we cannot afford to continue to struggle to achieve energy sufficiency as a continent. This platform must therefore provide us with a unique opportunity to share insights, forge partnerships, and explore innovative solutions to meet our energy needs in a responsible and inclusive manner. In doing so, Africa cannot accept a transition that sidelines development, exacerbates poverty, and ignores the stark energy deficiency that still grapples the continent. As you may be aware, over 600 million people in Africa do not have access to electricity. In rural Africa, just about 28% have access to electricity. About 1 billion Africans do not have access to clean cooking. Africa requires about 55 billion to 90 billion every year if we are to achieve energy sufficiency. And yet we are able to mobilize under 20% of that amount. So the reality is stark. And so when we talk of energy transition, we insist that it ought to be just, it ought to be equitable, and it ought to be fair. Because Africa, which constitutes about 19% of the world population, contributes just about 4% to global warming. And so we have what you call spare capacity to develop and propel the continent, especially for our youth. This is not just statistics. It is a barrier to education, it's a barrier to healthcare, economic growth, and more importantly, human dignity. Our duty first and foremost is to the youth and the people of Africa, and we cannot fail them. But the critical question is how Africa can effectively utilize its oil and gas resources and harness the collective power of human intelligence to achieve energy security and sufficiency. I'm happy to inform you that here in Ghana, we are making some significant strides. We are not just supplying enough power for Ghana, but we are exporting power to Togo, to Benin, to Cote d'Ivoire, and to Burkina Faso. That is no mean an achievement. His Excellency President Mahama has launched an ambitious program, and this is a policy that I think all of us should learn from, what he calls the gas to power policy, which is a strategic initiative aimed at utilizing the country's natural gas resource to generate electricity, thereby enhancing energy security, reducing over-reliance on fossil fuels, and supporting sustainable development. Since assuming office in January 2025, The government of Ghana, under the able leadership of President Mahama, has been laying the foundation for the next chapter of Ghana's energy story. This is a story of confidence, a story of collaboration, and concrete investments. Upon assumption of office, we took very bold steps and policy initiatives to engage investors in the upstream petroleum sector to address the dwindling fortunes in our exploration and production drive. I'm happy to report that the scorecard shows that we are making significant progress. In just about 7 months of being in office, we've already signed a $2 billion framework agreement with our Jubilee and 10 partners. This investment is expected to be committed to the drilling of 20 new wells and associated infrastructure over the license period. I can announce today, here today, at this very program, that Ghana will sign another memorandum of intent with our OCTP partners to pave the way for another $1.5 billion investment in the upstream sector of this country. This is not just a figure on paper. It is a vote of confidence in Ghana's upstream petroleum sector. It's a vote of confidence in our economy and a commitment to job creation and a catalyst for the infrastructure that will propel our nation to achieve accelerated inclusive growth. Furthermore, the interest in Ghana's upstream potential continues to grow. Other global energy giants have formally expressed a strong interest in partnering with Ghana to develop our hydrocarbon potential. We welcome this interest and we are actively engaging with them. Their potential entry is a powerful validation of our work and our policy reforms to create a stable, attractive, and world-class investment environment. Our message is clear. Ghana is actively working with our partners to unlock new opportunities, attract new investments, and incentivize the exploration that will replenish our resource base and ensure long-term energy security. But ladies and gentlemen, let me use this opportunity to assure the world and this gathering that we are not solely focused on hydrocarbons or fossil fuels. Ghana is deeply committed to promoting renewable energy as a core component of its sustainable development agenda. We recognize the importance of diversifying our energy mix to reduce over-reliance on one particular source, such as fossil fuels, whilst minimizing environmental pollution and ensuring energy security for all citizens. In this regard, His Excellency President Mahama took a decision to change the mandate of my ministry by including green transitions as a core component of our mandate, which aims to emphasize Ghana's commitment to sustainable development and environmental responsibility. Inclusive of our hydro capacity today, I can boast that Ghana is on course to achieving 35% renewable energy in its overall electricity generation mix by the end of this year. But the story is not just about Ghana. Africa is ready for business. And at this forum, we want to send a clear message to the global investment community that we are indeed open for business. Most African countries are reforming their economies, ensuring transparency, regulatory certainty, and fiscal overhaul. Africa is ready to work with partners who bring not just capital, but also technology, innovation, and a commitment to mutual benefit. And Africa is making significant progress. If you look at the FDI inflows alone, in 2024, FDI, according to UNCTAD, almost topped 100 billion, the highest so far. Ethiopia is just commissioning the Renaissance Dam, which is a major feat. Nigeria has completed the Dangote refinery, which has a capacity to produce 650,000 barrels a day. That is monumental. And for me, it tells you that beyond the negative stories about Africa, we are making significant progress. And like I have said, this is the time to invest in Africa. If you delay, the door may be shut by the time you decide to invest in Africa. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the future of Africa's energy will not be a product of luck or imitation. We must create it ourselves through the decisive application of our collective human intelligence. I therefore wish to use this opportunity to call on all of us to leave this conference with more than just promises and the exchange of business cards. Let us go with a binding commitment to act, create, and combine our intelligence to secure an energy future that is prosperous, that is sustainable, and that is distinctly African. Let our legacy be one of prosperity, powered by our own hands, and built on our own terms. Thank you very much. Welcome to Ghana once again.
The land is good, the land is fine. Gold we have, diamonds we mine.
We move into the highlight of our opening ceremony. And to guide us along this way is the Deputy Managing Director of Bost Energies, who also happens to be the Government of Ghana liaison for the Africa Oil Week. Please, with a warm welcome, please bring onto the stage Miss Adwasewa Bonzi.
Thank you, Anita. Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ministers of State from Ghana and African countries, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen. For the 2025 Africa Oil Week, we are not only gathered to advance the future of energy on the continent, we are here to spotlight leadership that is shaping that future with vision, integrity, and impact. It is my honor and privilege to welcome a head of state who continues to champion energy development, economic transformation, and Pan-African collaboration. Under his leadership, Ghana has made significant strides in creating a robust, inclusive, and investor-friendly energy sector, setting an example for sustainable growth and innovation across Africa. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, with warmest applause as we welcome to the stage to deliver the keynote address, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana.
The land is good, the land is fine. Gold we have, diamonds we mine.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Ministers of State, senior government officials here, Ministers of Oil and Energy from across the African continents, key actors in the petroleum and energy space, friends from media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and privilege for me to welcome you all to Accra, the gateway to Africa, for this year's Africa Oil Week. On behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I wish to extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished guests from across the continent and around the globe. Today we gather not only to showcase Africa's immense hydrocarbon potential, but also to engage in a frank dialogue on how best to deploy these resources to advance sustainable development, industrialization, and energy security for our people. Allow me to use this opportunity to commend Sankofa Events and all partners whose tireless efforts have made today's event possible. Hosting this event in Ghana is no mean achievement, and your hard work has delivered a moment of pride for our country and our continent. We also sincerely appreciate the government and people of South Africa who have nurtured this platform into one of the world's foremost gatherings of energy leaders. Ghana pledges to keep that flame burning brightly. AOW has become the premier forum for dialogue and partnerships in the energy space in Africa. Over the past 3 decades, it has facilitated collaboration between governments, companies, and investors, generating networks and business deals of global impact. This year's theme, Creating Our Future Through the United Power of Human Intelligence, is timely because it challenges us to pool our expertise, our resources, and vision to shape a sustainable energy future for Africa. Africa must take ownership of its resources and its destiny. Africa holds nearly 10% of the world's proven oil reserves and significant natural gas deposits, with a substantial portion of these resources remaining untapped. These resources present an opportunity to transform our continent from a primary exporter of raw commodities into a hub for energy-driven value addition, boosting our petrochemical potential and our industrial growth. And yet, paradoxically, more than 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. Another 1 billion have no access to clean cooking systems. This is a gap we must urgently close if we are to achieve the African Union Agenda 2063 and the UN SDGs before 2030. This makes Africa's oil and gas reserves strategically pivotal, not just for global energy security, but also to address Africa's energy poverty. A continent with the world's youngest population cannot build its industries or create jobs without reliable and affordable energy. Africa must not be left behind in the energy transition. If international oil companies reduce their presence, we must prevent our resources from becoming stranded assets. This requires African collaboration, financing, and innovation. We already have the tools: the African Petroleum Producers Organization, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the Emerging African Energy Bank. These institutions can mobilize African capital, technology, and markets. They can drive aggressive exploration, refining, petrochemical, storage, and transport infrastructure. Together, they can ensure that Africa's resources fuel African development. Here in Ghana, opportunities abound in the oil and gas sector. Ghana has several sedimentary basins with great prospects. A de-risked Western Basin where we have the Jubilee 10 and Sankofa Jinapor fields. Recently, we reached a $2 billion investment agreement with the Jubilee and 10 partners, and we're now in talks with the Jinapor Sankofa partners to speed up and expand their activities in their concession area. The Central Salt Pond and Eastern Kita basins demonstrate significant potential, and we invite and encourage investors to visit the data room and review the available information on these prospects. Ladies and gentlemen, it is instructive to note that Ghana, like most African countries, has large unlicensed acreages across our offshore and onshore basins. The onshore Voltairean Basin presents one of the most exciting frontiers on the continent. the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and its exploration subsidiary, Exploco, are advancing preparations to drill 2 new exploration wells by the end of the third quarter of 2026. This presents a unique farming opportunity for partners seeking to pioneer Ghana's onshore potential. Under my leadership, we're committed to building a business environment in Ghana that meets investors' expectations while safeguarding our national interest. When I took office in January, we immediately signaled to the investment community that Ghana's upstream sector is open once again for business. And we're committed to working with both existing and prospective investors to promote exploration both offshore and onshore. These policy initiatives have begun to yield the needed results. And I'm pleased to share with you the recent renewed interest in our offshore basins. The sector is picking up with increased production of gas from the Jubilee and OCTP fields. At present, 3 super majors are at various stages of commercial negotiation with the Ghana negotiations team and GNPC. This is a strong signal of confidence in Ghana's sedimentary basin, our governance and investment climate. To meet the evolving needs of the sector, we're undertaking a comprehensive review of our Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, which was passed in 2016, Act 919, in response to the global dynamics of the upstream and oil industry. Our goal is clear. We aim to make Ghana's regulatory and fiscal framework more competitive, more transparent, and more investor-friendly, ensuring a fair sharing of value between the state and our partners. In the midstream, Ghana is pursuing bold steps to secure energy reliability. In this regard, our national oil company, GNPC, together with Shell and other partners, are renegotiating the liquefied natural gas sale and purchase agreement to ensure that imported LNG can be delivered into Ghana within the next 18 months. This will end our reliance on expensive liquid fuels as backup for domestic gas, thereby strengthening energy security and lowering our energy costs. At the same time, the government is implementing an accelerated plan for developing its gas infrastructure. This includes investment in pipelines, new processing plants, and storage systems to guarantee sustainable evacuation of gas from our production fields to the market. These initiatives will open up significant opportunities for private investment and strategic partnerships. In the downstream, Ghana's vision is to transform into a regional petroleum hub, and our primary focus is to ensure that we anchor our energy reliability and security through a gas-to-power policy, which seeks to ensure that natural gas becomes the primary source of fuel for our thermal plants. We're also pursuing policies to develop the country's petrochemical petroleum mooring systems and pipeline facilities, in addition to oil and gas refineries. These downstream initiatives are designed not only to enhance our value addition, but also to position Ghana as a hub for petroleum and energy-based industrialization in West Africa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me be quick to state that we're equally conscious that the future of energy lies in a balanced transition. Ghana is committed to pursuing oil and gas development alongside renewable energy investments, ensuring that no citizen is left behind in the global shift towards cleaner energy technologies. In this regard, I established the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition early in the year to underscore my commitment towards sustainability and climate action. We invite investors to partner with Ghana. We're determined to create an enabling environment where your capital, your expertise, and your innovation will thrive while delivering jobs and shared prosperity. I call on you participants at this year's Africa Oil Week not only to exchange ideas, but to make it a platform for action. The partnerships forged here must translate into concrete projects across our continent. We must act together with urgency and purpose to end energy poverty in Africa, to add value to our resources before export, and to ensure that Africa benefits fully from the wealth that is beneath its soil. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time, your ideas, and your commitment, and I wish you a productive and successful Africa Oil Week 2025. May this gathering strengthen our partnerships and advance Africa's energy future. I thank you, and God bless Africa.
Your Excellency, thank you for the speech. May I ask you to take a seat whilst we do the most important part of this event. Another round of applause for the Excellency. Please take a seat. Thank you. Your Excellency John Dramani, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to a very important highlight of today's proceedings, the official signing of a memorandum of intent between the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation GNPC, ENI, and Vitol for increased investment in oil and gas development in Ghana. This is a $1 billion investment. This signing marks a significant step forward in deepening collaboration and strengthening partnership to advance Ghana's energy sector and support our shared vision for sustainable growth in Ghana's energy sector. May I respectfully invite the Honourable Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Honourable John Jinapor, the Honourable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honourable Dominic Ayine, Mr. Kwame Into Amua, CEO of GNPC, and our distinguished partners from ENI, Vitol. If you could have the document for signing, please. The order of signing will be as follows. The Honourable Minister of Energy and Green Transition, followed by the Honourable Minister of Justice and Attorney General, next, we have the CEO of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC. E and I. And Vitol. I now invite the Honourable Minister of Energy and the representative from E&I to exchange copies of the signed Memorandum of Intent. We will seal this milestone with a handshake and we'll pose for photographs. Okay. If we could have everybody stand in a straight line for an official photograph. Yeah. Robson.
The land is good, the land is fine.
Okay, 1.5.
Gold we have, diamonds we mine. Yet we fight, we cover it all in blood. Tell me why we wallow in the mud. Africa, 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 yeah.
If you could have Mr. Paul Sinclair join them.
Africa, we cry for peace. Africa. The land is good, the land is fine.
Thank you very much.
Cover it all in blood. Tell me why we wallow in the mud. Africa, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Mama Africa, we cry for peace. Africa, 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 yeah. Mama Africa.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And thank you to the leadership of ENI, Vitol, GMPC for such a significant moment. What we've just witnessed is more than a signing of a $1.5 billion investment. It's a powerful step towards a regional collaboration, investment, and long-term energy development. We are honored to have hosted this moment on the AOW stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in expressing our sincere gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, his representatives, and to the GMPC, ENI, and Vitol for making this a success. Can we please have the national anthem before His Excellency leaves? Thank you very much.